The fluorescent lights of the Gilded Spoon diner hummed, casting a pale, sterile glow on the worn-out vinyl booths. For Maya, a 28-year-old waitress with a quiet, unshakable strength in her eyes, this was her stage, 5 nights a week. A stage where she balanced plates of food, the unspoken problems of her customers, and the heavy reality of bills that never seemed to stop coming. She moved with a practiced grace, refilling coffee cups and offering smiles that didn't always reach her tired eyes. But tonight, that familiar hum would be shattered by a single voice. A voice dripping with arrogance that would set off a chain of events so unbelievable, it would redefine her entire world. It all started with a man at table 7, a man whose cruelty was as sharp as the crease in his expensive suit. His voice cut through the diner's low chatter, sharp and dismissive. "People like you should just be grateful you even have a job." She could have broken down. She could have quit. She could have fired back with the anger he so clearly wanted to provoke. But what this waitress did next wouldn't just leave this rude customer speechless. It would change her life and this restaurant forever. This isn't just a story about a rude customer. It's a story about the power of dignity and how one woman's refusal to be broken led to an outcome nobody saw coming. Before the storm, there was the calm. The Gilded Spoon was Maya's second home, a place she knew better than her own small apartment. She knew the wobble in the third booth from the back, the specific squeak the kitchen door made when it was humid, and the exact shade of gold the morning sun painted on the napkin dispensers. For 3 years, she'd poured her life into this place. Not because she loved the worn-out decor, but because it was her anchor in a turbulent sea. Maya was working 2 jobs to put herself through online business classes, her dog-eared textbooks tucked away in a locker in the back. Her dream wasn't to serve burgers for the rest of her life, but to one day open her own little cafe, a place where the coffee was always fresh, and more importantly, where everyone, staff and customer alike, would be treated with basic respect. This wasn't just a business plan, it was how she lived her life. It's what experts call marketplace dignity, the simple idea that people want to be treated with respect in every interaction. For Maya, this wasn't a theory. It was everything. She treated every customer with the same steady professionalism. Mrs. Gable, the elderly widow who came in every Tuesday for a slice of apple pie and a listening ear. The construction workers who always left a mess, but also a generous tip. Even the moody teenagers who nursed a single soda for hours. Maya treated them all with a quiet grace. Her manager, Mr. Henderson, a man whose spine seemed to be made of jelly, often called her his most reliable employee, even if he rarely backed that up with any real support. On this particular evening, the diner was buzzing. The air was thick with the sizzle of burgers and the clatter of plates. Maya moved through it all like a seasoned dancer, a calm center in the storm of orders and requests. She'd just dropped off a check at table 4 when she noticed the man at table 7 trying to get her attention, not with a polite wave, but with an impatient snap of his fingers. It was a sound that always set her teeth on edge, a sound that reduced a person to a task. She took a slow breath, smoothed her apron, and walked over. The man was in his late 50s, his suit was perfectly tailored, his watch was worth more than her car, and his eyes held a look of profound, unearned superiority. He hadn't even opened the menu. "I've been waiting for 10 minutes, he said, his voice low and sharp. It had been 3. "My apologies, sir," Maya said, her voice even. "It's a busy night. What can I get for you?" He waved a dismissive hand. "A steak, medium rare, and make sure the cook knows what that means. I don't want it gray and pathetic like everything else in this place." His eyes scanned the diner with contempt, then landed back on Maya. A smirk played on his lips. "And bring me a glass of your finest red wine, if you even have such a thing." Maya's smile didn't falter, but a quiet resolve hardened in her eyes. "Right away, sir." She turned and walked away, her back straight. She could feel his judgmental eyes on her. This wasn't the first time she'd dealt with a customer like him. The service industry is often a front line where workers, especially workers of color, face everything from microaggressions to outright hostility. She knew the drill: smile, endure, de-escalate. But tonight, something felt different. There was a personal venom in his tone, a cruelty that went beyond simple impatience. The steak arrived, cooked to a perfect medium rare with a warm pink center, just as he'd ordered. Maya placed the plate in front of him carefully. "Your steak, sir," she said, "and the Cabernet." The man, Arthur Harrison, didn't even look at her. He sliced into the meat, chewed a piece slowly, then put his fork down with a loud clank. "This is unacceptable," he announced, his voice carrying across the diner. "I asked for medium rare. This is practically raw." Maya looked at the steak. It was textbook medium rare. "Sir, that appears to be exactly as you ordered, but I can have the kitchen cook it a bit longer for you if you'd like." His head snapped up, his eyes blazing. "Are you questioning my judgment? Are you calling me a liar?" His voice got louder, and the diner began to quiet down. This was no longer a complaint, it was a performance. "Not at all, sir," Maya said, her voice still impossibly calm. "I am simply offering a solution. I just want to make sure you enjoy your meal." "Your goal," he scoffed, "should be to do your job properly. But I suppose that's too much to ask. People like you should just be grateful you even have a job." The words hung in the air, thick and poisonous. "People like you," a phrase meant to diminish and stereotype. It's a grim reality that more than half of black employees in the U.S. report experiencing racism at work, from subtle biases to overt insults, just like this. In that moment, Maya felt the sting of 1,000 tiny cuts, the weight of being constantly underestimated and disrespected. A hush fell over the diner. Everyone was watching. They saw a young black woman being publicly humiliated by a wealthy white man. They probably expected her to shrink, to apologize, to do whatever it took to make him stop. But Maya did none of those things. She stood a little taller. The professional mask slipped away, replaced by a quiet, powerful dignity. "Sir," she said, her voice low but clear in the sudden silence, "I will not be spoken to that way. I am a professional doing my job. You are a customer. But respect isn't an optional part of this. It's the foundation of it." The man was stunned into silence. He expected her to crumble, but she was standing her ground. When someone's dignity is attacked like that, the natural human response is outrage. But Maya didn't lash out. She simply defined her own humanity. "You have two options," she continued, her gaze unwavering. "You can let me take the steak back to the kitchen, or you can eat it as is. But what you will not do is sit in my section and insult me." Arthur Harrison's face flushed a deep, mottled red. He was furious, not just at her defiance, but at being challenged. That feeling of being treated as an equal is so important, and by demanding it, Maya had completely flipped the power dynamic he had tried to create. "Who do you think you are?" he hissed, slamming his hand on the table. "I want to see your manager, now." Mr. Henderson scurried out from the back office, his face a mask of pure anxiety. He was a man who lived in fear of bad reviews, and for him, "the customer is always right" wasn't a guideline, it was the law. "Sir, I am so sorry," he began, wringing his hands and avoiding Maya's eyes. "Whatever the problem is, we'll fix it. The meal is on the house, of course." "The problem," Arthur Harrison said, pointing a trembling finger at Maya, "is her. This waitress has been insubordinate, and I have never been treated so poorly in my life. She accused me of lying, and then had the audacity to lecture me." Mr. Henderson's eyes darted to Maya, full of blame. "Maya, what did you do? Apologize to the gentleman immediately." Maya stood firm. "Mr. Henderson, I was professional until he began to personally insult me. I will not apologize for defending my own dignity. The manager looked horrified. He saw a potential lawsuit, a scathing Yelp review, a scene that was costing him money. And we've all seen what happens when managers don't back up their people. It creates a toxic workplace where no one wants to stay. Mr. Henderson was a walking case study. "Maya, that is not your decision," he said through gritted teeth. "Apologize. Now, that is an order." Maya looked at her manager, a man she had worked tirelessly for, and saw only fear. She looked at the angry customer, a man trying to get power from her humiliation. And in that moment, she made a choice. She chose herself. "No," she said. The air crackled. Mr. Henderson's face went white. Arthur Harrison let out a short, triumphant laugh. He had won. "Then you are fired," Mr. Henderson sputtered, his voice trembling. "Get your things and get out. You are finished here." A collective gasp went through the room. One woman whispered, "That's not right." But no one said anything else. A strange calm washed over Maya. She'd lost her job, a job she desperately needed, but she hadn't lost her self-respect. Without another word, Maya turned, walked to the back, and placed her apron neatly on the counter. She didn't look back. She walked out the front door of the Gilded Spoon, her head held high, leaving the wreckage of the scene behind her. The walk home was a blur. Fear gnawed at her. How would she pay her rent? But beneath the fear was a solid bedrock of pride. She had not let them break her. The next morning, Maya woke up to the heavy silence of unemployment. She spent the morning numbly scrolling through job listings, the pride of last night feeling distant against the cold, hard reality of her situation. Meanwhile, back at the Gilded Spoon, Mr. Henderson was snapping at the staff, his guilt coming out as anger. Around 10 a.m., the front door opened, and Arthur Harrison walked in. A nervous hush fell over the room. Mr. Henderson rushed out from his office, a forced, eager smile plastered on his face. "Mr. Harrison, sir, welcome back," he gushed. "I hope you'll give us another chance. Again, my deepest apologies for last night. That employee has been terminated." Arthur Harrison looked around the diner, his expression cool and analytical. He wasn't the same enraged man from the night before. This was a calmer and far more intimidating authority. "The employee, Maya," he said. "You fired her." "Immediately, sir," Henderson confirmed proudly. "We have zero tolerance for disrespect towards our customers." Arthur Harrison nodded slowly. "I see. And you're the general manager?" "Yes, sir, James Henderson," he said, puffing out his chest. "Good," Arthur said, his voice dropping to a steely tone. "Then you're the one I need to talk to. As of 8 a.m. this morning, I am the new owner of this restaurant, and my first official act is to inform you that your services are no longer required." Mr. Henderson's jaw dropped. The smile melted off his face. What? You can't? I don't understand." "It's simple," Arthur explained, his voice devoid of emotion. "I'm an investor. I've been looking to acquire a small restaurant chain. Before I invest my money, I invest my time. Some people read financial reports. I test the foundation. And the foundation of any service business is its people." He gestured around the diner. "Last night, I wasn't just a customer. I was an auditor. I was intentionally difficult because I was looking for weakness. And I found it. But not where I expected." He turned his gaze on the stunned manager. "I saw a leader who, when faced with conflict, immediately threw his most principled employee under the bus to appease a bully. You didn't investigate. You didn't support your staff. You showed a complete lack of integrity. A business run by a man with no backbone is destined to fail. You're a liability, Mr. Henderson, so you're fired." The staff stood frozen, watching the scene unfold like a dream. "Now," Arthur Harrison said, turning to the bewildered hostess, "I need you to find Maya, call her, Tell her the new owner of the Gilded Spoon needs to speak with her urgently. Tell her it's about a job offer." An hour later, a hesitant Maya walked back through the doors of the Gilded Spoon. The hostess led her to table 7, the very table where her life had been turned upside down less than 24 hours ago. Arthur Harrison was sitting there. He stood up as she approached. "Maya," he said, his voice much softer now. "Please sit down." She sat cautiously, her heart pounding. "I imagine you're very confused," he began. "What I did last night was a test. It was an ugly, unfair test, and I won't pretend it was anything else. I wanted to see how the staff, and especially management, would react under extreme pressure. I wanted to see if the people working here had character." He looked her directly in the eye. "Most people would have broken. You did none of that. You stood your ground with a level of dignity that I have rarely seen. You didn't just demand respect. You upheld a standard of human decency. That is not something that can be taught. That is character." He leaned forward. "I am not a good man, Maya. I've built my fortune by being ruthless, but I know how to recognize value. And your integrity, that is the most valuable asset this restaurant could possibly have." Maya listened, her mind reeling. "I fired Mr. Henderson," he said plainly, "and now his position is vacant. I need a new general manager, someone to run not just this location, but to help me overhaul the entire chain. I need someone who understands that treating people with dignity isn't just a nice idea. It's the cornerstone of a successful business. I need someone who believes in that, because it is who they are." He paused, his gaze intense. "I'm offering you the job, Maya, general manager, with a salary that will let you quit your second job and finish your degree without worry. I'm not just buying a restaurant. I'm investing in a leader. I'm investing in you." Tears welled up in Maya's eyes, not of sadness or fear, but of overwhelming relief and vindication. Everything she had stood for, the principles she refused to compromise, had been seen. They had been valued. She took a deep breath. The woman who last night had nothing, and was now on the verge of everything. "Yes," she said, her voice clear and strong. "I accept." Maya's story is a powerful reminder that true strength isn't about the power you have over others, but the dignity you refuse to surrender within yourself. She didn't just get a new job. She proved that character is a currency more valuable than money. Now, it's important to say that Maya's story is a fictional parable, crafted to highlight a universal lesson. But the real-world fight for workplace dignity is something countless people face every single day. Maya's journey is a powerful reminder. Your value is not determined by someone else's opinion of you, but by the integrity you hold within. True character shines brightest in the face of adversity, and sometimes just refusing to be broken is the most powerful victory of all. What did you think of Maya's story? Have you ever witnessed a moment where someone chose dignity over defeat? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We love reading them. And if this story moved you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that inspires. Until next time, remember to treat everyone with the respect they deserve. You never know whose life you might change.